Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Here is Usama Tahir and you're watching Learn English Usama Tahir. So Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Before starting our video lecture, let's thank to Allah who has given this beautiful month to enjoy and to do good deeds with the blessings of Allah. Today, as I have already told you, I will make 3 consecutive video lectures on language learning theories. I told you that language learning is of greater interest for the language students and as well as for the general audience as well, because this phenomena is a phenomenal concept. Because how amazing is to be learn a language by a child in a very young age. So I thought let's give it proper weightage and let's discuss each and every theory in detail for your convenience, because you will going to learn them in whatever semester you are. If you are doing linguistics, you will be encountered with these theories, you will do projects and you will understand them. For it's better for getting good marks and also for understanding the nature of language. So without wasting our time, let's move forward to behaviorist theory, which was given by B.F. Skinner. Okay, there are a few questions before formally starting this video lecture to arouse your interest. The first question is, do you think that language is learnt like other behaviors? In the previous video lecture and in the previous theory, we learned that language is directly related with our mind and mental activities. Okay, this was discussed and focused in the language theory given by NAOM Chomsky. The name was, the theory was cognitive theory. Yes. So in this theory, we are going to discuss that language is learned like other behaviors are learned. What are the behaviors? Like how to sit, how to shake hand, how to smile. Just suppose, just take the example of this small child, how he learns different behaviors. So do you think that language is also the part of the behavior and learned like other behaviors as well? Like behavior is to write. Okay, writing is a form of behavior, and a young child is taught to write, right, is taught to speak. So speaking and writing is not the language, or language is not like other behaviors we do. Like driving is a form of action. Okay, it's a form of behavior and we are taught. So why don't we say that language is also the part of behavior and it's learnt like all other things we learn in life? So this is the question. Do you think positive or negative reinforcement affects language learning? For example, if we do something good, I don't know why it's not working here. Maybe I selected the white color. Maybe it was the problem. So do you think positive or negative reinforcement affects language learning? So what is negative reinforcement and positive reinforcement? Positive reinforcement mean if you do something and you are rewarded, okay, you are appreciated. This is the form of positive reinforcement. And what is negative reinforcement? It means you do something wrong or whatever you do and you are rewarded, you are punished or you are rebuked. So language is just like, if you are rebuked for doing something in the language, for example for violating the rule, or for example a baby violates a grammatical rule and he is ignored by her mother. Okay, or if a child says correct vocabulary for the milk and gets the milk, how this whole phenomena is affecting the language learning. For example, a baby signs the bottle and asks for the milk and he says what, he says bottle, and mother gives her water. This is the form of the positive reinforcement. So he learns that word, he or she will repeat that word in future, right, and it will affect his or her language learning, right? Am I right? And if he or she is rebuked for saying the milk, the bottle, will he or she repeat that word again, or will he or she changes the word and say milk instead of bottle? So this is how positive and negative reinforcement is affecting language learning. This is the point here. Do you think that appreciation and punishment affects the language learning and changes our behaviors with respect to the language? The way we speak is changed. Do you think reward or punishment is involved and influences the language acquisition? Behaviorist theory of language acquisition. Skinner gave this theory. So let's define it first. The behavior. Okay. First of all, what do you think from the name of this theory? Behaviorist theory. The theory related to behavior. The theory involves the behavior and talks about language acquisition on the grounds of the behaviorist theory. So yes, you are right. You are thinking right. So let's define it. The behaviorist theory of language acquisition states that language is a behavior. Okay, this theory claims language to be the behavior like other behaviors we have, and consequently is learned like any other behavior via positive and negative reinforcement. I think I have explained it enough, and you don't need further clarification in this regard. Behaviorists like B.F. Skinner argued that language acquisition and development are learned behaviors. Like we learn to speak, like we learn to behave well, we learn manners, we learn to respect, okay, and we learn to take bath, we learn to use bathroom in childhood, we learn to eat properly, we learn to dress properly. Like I'm taking the example of the young child. So whatever he or she is very young and learning these behaviors, right? Similarly, this theory states that along with all these behaviors, a child is learning the language like taking a behavior. No focus is given to the mental processes, and no focus is given to the social interaction, but the focus has been put or has been diverted to the behavior, how behaviors are formed, and how positive and negative reinforcement is influencing the language learning. This is what this theory is about, and this is how you can distinguish this theory from the other theories. Okay, behaviorist theory of language acquisition. Sometimes it is hard to pronounce such words. So it was given by B.F. Skinner. It discusses the language to be learned through operant conditioning. What is operant conditioning? Don't worry, we will discuss in detail. Volunteer repeated behavior. So operant conditioning means the behavior which is volunteer, which is free will. You are not forced. Language learning is not forced, it is free will. Repeated behavior. You on your own free will repeat the behaviors. The behaviors which are rewarded are always repeated by a child. For example, if you clean your room and your mother appreciates you and gives you and makes you noodles, you will repeat that action again. And if you break a toy, your mother will rebuke you, or that action will not be performed or will not likely to be performed again by the child. This is how the language is. If you utter the wrong word for the object, for example, you need water and you say I need this. Your mother calls you, say the name of this thing. Your mother is your language teacher, obviously, and you will not repeat this word again, but you will use water. This is how you are learning the language, and this will be volunteer repeated behavior. You are not forced to do that. You will see that I will only reward it in the situation if I say the word right or correct. Then this becomes a volunteer free will repeated behavior. You will repeat that behavior on your free will, and this procedure helps you to learn language, and this theory is all about learning the language in that way. Okay, the four things are very important in this theory. What are those things? Stimulus, okay, response, reinforcement, and repetition. Okay, first of all, stimulus is anything which will take a response. For example, Anything which arouse a sensation, arouse a movement in your organ or anything in your mind is stimulus. For example, you are hungry, this is stimulus, and you respond to it, mama, I need food. And the reinforcement is can be positive and can be negative. So you will repeat that action based on the reinforcement. For example, you say, you think something and this is the stimulus and you respond to it. For example, it's raining outside and baby has no idea what to call rain. This is rain is the stimulus, and it arouses his emotions or mental arouse some movement in his mind or in his organ, and he responds to it, mama, it's something outside. And reinforcement would be negative or would be positive, that mother will say, baby, it's raining, you can call it raining, and the baby will repeat further after, depending on the reinforcement. This is how this whole model works: positive versus negative reinforcement. According to them, learning language is not different from learning anything else. According to this theory, according to P.F. Skinner and other behaviorists, they think that language is learnt like all other things are learnt in life. And imitation and association is of great significance in this theory, that language is learnt through imitation and association. For example, a baby is given a biscuit and always say, baby, this is a biscuit, this is the biscuit. Baby will associate the word biscuit with the actual biscuit, right? This is the association, and now he or she will repeat the word, imitate the word after her or his parents. This is how he or she, the baby, is learning the language, with the help of imitation and associating objects with actual physical objects. Like actual physical biscuit is associated with the word biscuit, and now the baby is repeating it and imitating it after her mother or father, and now she or he has learned that word formally with the help of imitation and association. Operant, what is operant conditioning is, okay, operant conditioning is very important and is one of the crucial key point in this theory. Operant conditioning is a method of learning that occurs through rewards and punishment for behavior. Operant conditioning is type of a method that occurs through rewards and punishment. There would be punishment or the reward for the action, and operant conditioning mean free will action. Okay, through operant conditioning, an individual makes an association between a particular behavior and consequences. I mean, through operant conditioning, an individual, a person, makes an association between a particular behavior. A particular behavior can be cleaning the room, and the consequence is the positive. Now his association is positive, and he or she will repeat the action. And if breaking the toy by a child is considered to be the negative reinforcement, so the child won't repeat it again. This is how the operant conditioning work. Conditioning mean there is a condition attached to your action, which is operant, which is free will, which you are not forced to or bound to do. You just do it, you get the response, and if the response is positive, you will repeat it, and if the response is negative or you are punished with it, you will eradicate this behavior from your personality. Like, this is how a baby learns correct grammatical structures and ignore the ungrammatical structures since childhood. He is not positively reinforced for uttering wrong sounds, for uttering wrong sentences, so he leaves them and stick to the correct grammar because of positive reinforcement. This is how language are learned by babies, according to this theory. Positive reinforcement, I think we have much discussed. I thought I needed to discuss this further, but I think there is no need for that. And negative reinforcement, okay, experiment conducted by Skinner to prove his theory, to prove his behaviorist theory. What was the experiment? It was very interesting experiment that was conducted on a rat to prove the the significance of his theory or the correctness of his theory. Rat is put in a box. Okay, there was a rat, and the rat was put in a box, containing a bar. There was a button, there was a bar in the box, and rat presses the bar. This is stimulus, receives food, this is the response. Okay, it becomes positive reinforcement because pressing the bar gives him the food, so it becomes the positive reinforcement, reward for him, and he repeats it, repetition, to get food again and again. So this was the whole experiment, and according to this we can think that rat is the baby. Okay, we're just exemplifying it, and rat presses the bar, speaks the correct grammar, stimulus, receives food, I mean rewarded. It becomes positive reinforcement, the reward. Okay, for him, he repeats that correct words and correct phrases, and this is how a baby learns the language. We can relate this whole experiment with language learning in this way. So stay blessed and keep watching my videos, and don't forget to comment, subscribe, and share to your friends. And if you have any question or queries, you can ask me in the comment section or even text me on my WhatsApp number or my cell number. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.